Greetings, fellow unravelers of forgotten tales. What if a single man could dine with Christ, advise kings on the brink of revolution, and melt diamonds like wax under the sun, yet vanish into myth without a trace? Today, we're plunging into the labyrinthine life of the Count of St. Germain, the so-called immortal wanderer whose shadow still haunts Europe's gilded halls, blending alchemy's fire with diplomacy's silk. Get ready for a tale that challenges everything you thought you knew about the 18th century's hidden puppet masters. If you're captivated by these echoes of eternity, hit subscribe and ring that bell. We've got more enigmas waiting. Our story begins not with a birth certificate, but with a riddle wrapped in velvet robes. Picture the courts of Europe in the 1740s, powdered wigs, flickering candlelight, and whispers of intrigue. Into this world steps a man, calling himself the Count of St. Germain, tall, elegant, with piercing eyes that seem to hold centuries. No one knows his true name or cradle. Was he the bastard son of Transylvanian Prince Francis II, Rákóczi, hidden from Habsburg blades? Or perhaps a Portuguese Jew named Simon Wolf, reinventing himself amid the Enlightenment's glow? Eyewitnesses like Horace Walpole, scribbling from his London perch in 1745, paint him as a polyglot marvel, fluent in French, Italian, even ancient tongues, his voice a melody that disarmed spies and seduced salons. But beneath the charm lurked suspicion. He arrived penniless, yet dripping in jewels, claiming knowledge of history as if he'd lived it all. Walpole's letter, a primary gem from the era, captures the shock. Arrested in London as a Jacobite spy during the 45 rebellion, the Count was hauled before the gentry, his pale face framed by raven hair and beard, protesting innocence with a laugh. Released without charge, he didn't flee, he dazzled. By April 1749, he was performing violin sonatas in private drawing rooms, his compositions haunting the air like ghosts of forgotten operas. Imagine the gasp when he revealed inks that shifted colors in sunlight, dyes for silks that mocked the sun's own palette. Feats born, he said, from an Indian sojourn where gurus taught him nature's hidden alchemy. Was it sleight of hand or something darker? The archives whisper of no formal training, yet his laboratory at Chambord Castle, gifted by King Louis XV, bubbled with elixirs, promising youth eternal. Friends like Giacomo Casanova, that rogue of memoirs, met him in Paris and marveled. He spoke of melting a dozen flawed diamonds into one flawless orb, equal in weight, pure as a saint's soul. But Casanova, ever the skeptic, wondered if the Count's boasts masked a deeper game. As the 7 Years' Wars cannons roared, St. Germain became Louis XV's shadow envoy, slipping through the Hague's fog in 1760 with a blank passport and a satchel of secrets. He dined with bankers at the House of Hope, collateralizing phantom loans with gems that vanished like mist, only to reappear, flawless. Eyewitness dispatches from General York detail a conversation that chilled the air. The Count foretold peace treaties with eerie precision, his words laced with prophecies of thrones toppling. Yet when French Minister Choiseul sniffed treason, Louis disavowed him, bundling the enigma off to England with a wink and a purse. There, in smoky taverns, he rubbed shoulders with philosophers, his tales spinning webs of reincarnation, from attending the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD to sipping wine at Cana with a carpenter from Nazareth. Voltaire, that razor-tongued giant, met him in Vienna and penned the immortal line, "This man has never been born, and will never die. He knows everything. Was it jest or terror? The philosophe's letters, preserved in French archives, betray a tremor. Saint Germain's youth, frozen at 45, defied the calendar's cruel march, transitioning from London's chill to France's feverish heart. The Count wove himself into the Sun King's twilight court like a thread of midnight silk. By 1748, Madame de Pompadour, Louis XV's sharp-eyed muse, had taken him under wing. His cosmetic recipes, born of alchemical fire, smoothed her rivals' complexions while sharpening her own edge. Imagine the Versailles salons, crystal chandeliers casting rainbows on brocade, the air thick with perfume and plot. Saint Germain arrives, violin in hand, improvising arias that brought tears to hardened courtiers. He plays as if the strings are veins. One lady-in-waiting confided in her diary, a fragment now yellowed in the Bibliothèque Nationale, but music was mere prelude. His true symphony was science. In Chambord's shadowed halls, he brewed a universal medicine, an elixir, he claimed, that cured fevers and fancies alike. Eyewitness accounts from the king's physician note patients rising from deathbeds, their eyes gleaming with unnatural vigor. Yet whispers grew. Was this Rosicrucian wizardry or Freemason guile? Rumors swirled that he initiated the infamous Cagliostro into Templar rites, forging chains of secret brotherhoods that tugged at history's loom. Deeper into the court's velvet underbelly, Saint Germain's influence bloomed like nightshade, beautiful but deadly if plucked wrong. He advised on dyes that turned wool to royal purple without a drop of Tyrian blood, a trick learned, he said, from Brahmins in 1755 India, where he wandered temples honing his craft. Returning, he demonstrated before the Académie des Sciences. A crucible glows. Diamonds dissolve like sugar in tea, reforming into orbs of perfect clarity. The room fell silent, then erupted. Genius or devilry. Primary ledgers from the royal treasury record payments for his experiments, yet no formulas survived. Only echoes in Voltaire's correspondence. He commands the elements as a conductor does an orchestra, but power bred peril when he meddled in the Austro-France rift, whispering peace overtures that smacked of espionage. Choisel's faction struck. Exiled in 1760, the Count didn't sulk. He sailed for Russia, where Tsar Peter III's throne wobbled like a drunkard's crown. In St. Petersburg's icy spires, 1762 unfolded as Saint Germain's grandest gambit, a coup whispered in palace shadows. Eyewitnesses, including dispatches from the British ambassador, place him at the heart of the conspiracy that toppled Peter and crowned Catherine the Great. Picture it: snow-laced nights, sleigh bells muffled by intrigue. The Count, disguised as a Polish noble, slips into Orlov's rebel circle, his alchemical gold-funding arms that would echo through history. He foresaw the blade's arc before the hilt was gripped, Catherine later hinted in private letters. Archived in the Hermitage vaults, did he orchestrate the murder or merely fan the flames? Legends claim he teleported from the Winter Palace to warn of assassins, vanishing in a puff of alchemical smoke. More grounded accounts from Prince Gregory Orlov's memoirs describe banquets where Saint Germain regaled with tales of Babylonian courts, his ageless face lit by candlefire, drawing gasps when he sketched lost Sumerian scripts from memory. From Russia, he drifted to Berlin and Vienna, a ghost in Masonic lodges, allegedly penning the American Declaration's hidden clauses. Though Jefferson's papers offer no proof, only tantalizing voids. Yet for every verified stride, shadows lengthened with unprovable splendor. In Venice, 1769, he crossed paths again with Casanova, now graying, who noted in his Histoire de ma vie, the Count looked unchanged, as if time courted him in vain. They debated alchemy over ouzo, Saint Germain demonstrating a pearl grown from seawater in his palm, a parlor trick or portal to infinity. Traveling to Livorno and Nuremberg, he peddled flawless gems to jewelers, who swore, by assay, they were virgin-born. One Dutch merchant's ledger, unearthed in Utrecht archives, logs a sail from the man who defies death, stones that laugh at flaws, but urgency mounted. By 1770, back in Paris, he warned Louis XV of guillotines glinting on the horizon. The king laughed it off, but the Comtesse d'Admor, in her Souvenirs, Sir Marie Antoinette, recounts the Count's pallor. He spoke of bread riots and heads rolling. His voice a dirge for Versailles. Dismissed as a mad seer, he retreated to Germany's mists, where Landgraves sought his secrets. Now, let us wander with him into the Teutonic twilight, where forests whispered of elder gods and alchemists chased the philosopher's stone. By 1774, Saint Germain settled in The Hague, then pivoted to the court of Landgrave Charles of Hesse-Kassel, a mystic prince hungry for the arcane. Their alliance, forged in 1779, was pure fire. Together, they delved into gem lore, crafting jewelry that sparkled with captured starlight, as Charles gushed in his memoirs. Eyewitness letters from the prince's archive detail late-night vigils in a Schleswig factory, crucibles hissing as the Count transmuted base metals to gold, or so he vowed. One of the greatest philosophers alive, Charles proclaimed, confiding to diaries that Saint Germain admitted his age, 88, born in 1691, son of the exiled Rakoczy, schooled in Siena's shadowed halls. Can you picture the prince's excitement as he studied the maps the Count said were from Atlantis's fall? But reality intruded. The factory faltered, debts mounted like winter frost. Still, Saint Germain's charisma held. He healed the Landgrave's ailments with herbal drafts, recipes rooted in Indian scrolls he'd allegedly copied by torchlight. These years peel back the myth's layers, revealing a man not of marble, but flesh, brilliant, flawed, eternally restless. In Ubergan and Zutphen, Dutch burghers chronicled his visits in town rolls, a stranger funding porcelain kilns with phantom wealth, vanishing before bills came due. One potter's son, in a faded oral history preserved in Amsterdam's folklore collection, recalled, "He taught me to glaze with dragon's breath colors, then spoke of courts I'd never see, as if he'd built them himself. Suspense built like a storm." Rumors from Vienna painted him as a Illuminati architect, pulling strings from Freemason webs. Yet primary sources, like Mozart's fragmented notes from a 1760s salon, loud only his violin, a bow that weeps for lost empires. Emotional tides swelled, courtiers wept at his improvisations, sensing in melodies the ache of unlived lives. Was this the key to his allure, a mirror to our own fleeting sparks? As rheumatism gnawed his frame, whispers turned to willow. The wisps had the immortal finally faltered. The turning point came in Eckernford's chill winds, 1784, a port town where Baltic waves lapped at destiny's edge. Prince Charles, away in Kassel, received frantic missives. His alchemical partner ailed, yet refused physicians, brewing his own cures in a rented factory. Eyewitness Dr. Lassalle, the local healer, documented in parish notes the Count's final days. bedridden but lucid, dictating letters to distant kings with prophecies of wars unborn. On February 27th, he slipped away, officially from rheumatism, his pulse fading as snow blanketed the roof. Buried March 2nd in St. Nikolai's private plot, his estate auctioned days later. Modest clothes, 82 Reichsthalers, no elixirs or gold. The Schleswig-Holsteinischen Anzeigen proclaimed it plainly, no fanfare for a legend. But oh, the void he left. Charles mourned in verse, calling him eternal sage, while Europe buzzed. Had he staged his exit, slipping into shadows like a magician's cape, grief twisted into gale force myth. Within months, sightings bloomed. Paris, 1785, advising Mesmer on magnetic fluids. In 1789, amid revolution's roar, urging flight to the fleeing royals. The Comtesse d'Ademore's memoirs, serialized in 1836, but drawn from 1770s journals, swear he appeared thrice, pale, urgent, vanishing at dawn. He knew the tumbrel's rhythm before the wheels turned, she wrote, her quill trembling. Across the channel, a Major Fraser claimed descent, boasting St. Germain's blood in 1835 letters to the London Times, unproven but intoxicating. Deeper into the 19th century, Theosophists seized the flame. Helena Blavatsky, in Isis Unveiled, crowned him Rukochi, an ascended master guiding Aquarius's dawn with powers of levitation and mind-speak. Eyewitnesses. A 1896 seance in Adyar, India, where mediums channeled his voice, dictating treatises on violet flame purification. As our journey through time's veiled corridors draws to a close, let's pause amid the embers of St. Germain's fire. A man whose life teaches us that history isn't stone tablets, but living breath, full of what-ifs that ignite the soul. From verified threads, Walpole's ink, Casanova's candor, Charles's confessions, we see a polymath adrift in power's currents, his alchemical whispers perhaps veiling a spy's code or a philosopher's dream. Yet the legends linger like incense. Did he truly sip eternity's cup? Or was immortality the ultimate sleight, born of charisma's endless reinvention? Ponder this as the credits roll. If such a figure walked yesterday's halls, who treads today's shadows, unseen, what mysteries would you chase if time bent to your will? Got some wild theories? Drop them in the comments. Did St. Germain really spark revolutions, or was he just a master showman? If this dive into history got you thinking, like, share, and subscribe for more cool insights. Until next time, keep questioning. History's secrets are waiting for you.